Good morning and welcome to Be My Guest Plus, brought to you by the YMCA. And our guest this morning was Brianna Neuser, who is the Holy Family Memorial Manager of Clinic Quality and Process Improvement. And Brianna, thank you so much for being on the air with us this morning. It was a pleasure having you. One of the topics, we talked about many, is immunizations. And can you tell our audience why it's important for them to be immunized?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So we really encourage preventative health care. Being immunized is part of that prevention. We want to prevent those chronic illnesses. So we focus on a number of immunizations for our adult population as well as our children, but I'll highlight just a few for our adults. One being, of course, that COVID vaccine. I'll put the plug in for that. We want to make sure people are getting their COVID vaccine. But the second that's important, and it's hard to believe since the weather's nice and it's going to be coming just around the corner, but that would be influenza. So influenza would be recommended for all age groups greater than 6 months old. So we do recommend that annually. And again, that too is a devastating illness and can also lead to death. So we want to take that very seriously. I know it's kind of been overshadowed recently by COVID, but influenza is something to consider for yourself and your family members this fall. The second would be pneumonia. Pneumonia vaccine is also indicated for our population of greater than 65. So the pneumonia vaccine can be given alongside your influenza, but that does not need to be repeated annually. That would be one that you could wait several years in between having another booster for that, and you would just work with your healthcare provider on determining the right time for that vaccine. The third that we also promote or highly encourage would be our tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. Otherwise, you might hear of it as TD, the tetanus and diphtheria only. That we do recommend every 10 years, and that would require a booster. The main component of that to highlight in terms of just being safe with the population is the pertussis component, or otherwise maybe heard of as whooping cough. That can affect our infants and young children. So if you're, a grandparent or an adult working with children, that's something you want to really consider in terms of which vaccine you're going to get, the Tdap or the TD, because that can be contagious and passed along to those younger individuals. And then finally, we highly recommend shingles for the age group of 55 and older. If you've had the chickenpox, shingles is one that you may have risk of also acquiring. So 1 in 3 adults who've had chickenpox can end up having shingles, and it's a really painful, type of illness to have to deal with. So again, that shingles would be another one. Check with your insurance on that, though. I do encourage, some insurances do recommend that you have that done at the pharmacy. So you just want to make sure that your Medicare will tell you one way or the other where to go with coverage of those vaccines.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brianna. And we invite you to go to WOMTradio.com/podcast. Be My Guest Plus is brought to you by the YMCA, and I'm Lee Douglas.